Hi, this is Greg DiCarlo, and I'm making a video today with my new DJI Action camera. I'm just trying this out, so today I'm going to talk about some things that I observed in nature, and I'm going to write a plan. You know, it seems like nature has a plan. I don't know if you can tell in this short video, but there's lots of green growing around. There's flowers blooming on the trees, and the creatures are coming out. You know, today it's a little bit cold. You know, it's about 30 some degrees. Maybe it was snowing a little bit, but the nature that has bloomed here in early April seems to be thriving. It seems like everything is following its purpose. Seems like the trees that have fallen, I noticed some new fallen trees, are actually telling a story. They're telling a message. They're saying, you know what, we've taken our course, and we're actually now going to move on to the next cycle in our lives, which is to support everything else around us. You know, kind of like a fallen log where an animal could live inside of there. You know, the tree wasn't always doing that. So what I realized is that life happens in phases, and in my life, I think the phases have been, you know, maybe around every 15 years or so, something changes where, you know, I might have a new life purpose or a new directive. So right now I'm going through that change, and as you can see from my YouTube videos, it's actually an interesting time to be part of this world and to have the experience and the skill set that I have. So if I was a tree and I lived my whole life, you know, sort of just staying still and observing everything around me, and being able to have flowers and things blooming and sharing my energy with the world. You can see that in one of my previous videos, but the idea is that as things begin to evolve, so do everything else around you. And so you want to be able to follow that cycle and be able to detect when the energy is changing. So I'm detecting that the energy is changing. There's a new advent of tools in the technology space, which is where I focus on in my work. And so there's obviously artificial intelligence nowadays, where it's more of an augmented tool that we can use to increase our powers and our capabilities. So just like the tree goes through a cycle and maybe falls down from the wind or the rain, or, you know, kind of crosses over the path, as it were, to block the way of others, it's actually there for a purpose. It's there to serve other purposes in life. So what I'm thinking about is that, you know, I'm very observing the present moment, and I'm always constantly thinking about how I can achieve things with the current situation that I'm confronted with. I also sometimes think about the future, and I think about the past. And so when we think about past, present, and future, there's something that we can think about there as sort of like a right triangle. And I want to illustrate this as a triangle. So I'll draw a right triangle on my paper here, but I'll call that this is present, past, and future. Okay? Now, with this type of mentality, you may really only focus on one point of this triangle at a time, where you're going to be able to say, well, here's my present moment, here's what I can observe now, and then you might say, well, here's my future possibilities. And maybe the future possibilities could be on multiple tangents, where you actually almost have a circle, and you could say, well, I could even go past in the future. So if you see here, I'm kind of drawing a circle where it basically says I have an opportunity to go in different directions in my life. So I'd like to try to use this as an illustration to get myself focused. You know, as I've observed that I'm going through this change, I want to be able to leverage everything that I know and everything that I have to be able to make the best possible future for myself and for others. So what I'm thinking about is that I don't really have a plan. You know, I don't really think 5 years ahead or anything, but I was watching a YouTube video recently, and it said that you could talk to your future self and ask your future self, well, if you're 5 years in the future, what is it that you would want for that future self, as well as what would be the path to get there. So those are the things I'm trying to observe right now, and I want to be able to talk about it clearly. So I'm going to make a plan. So if my plan were to talk to my future self, I think I would say, well, in 5 years from now, I want to, be fully sustainable. I want to have a house, which I do not have currently, and I want to be able to live in that house with anything that I need to survive. So that would be like food, shelter, water, and then also the things that I need to be able to make a living. Maybe my computer things, or having a nice office, or having internet, having electricity, having flowing water, and healthy access to healthy foods. So those are the things I would think about when trying to choose a house, but the main goal would be for me to get a house so that I don't need to think about on a yearly basis where to move to and rent a place. So that's something I want to do. About 10 years ago, I did own a house, and I did raise a family for 15 years in Columbus, Ohio, and that was a very good time for me. I really enjoyed growing up with my kids and my wife at the time, and I really enjoyed and appreciated those parts of my life so much that it's in my heart. It's something that I remember deeply. And so now I want to be able to create that future for myself again, and I want to be able to open it up to anybody who wants to come visit me or join me, such as my kids and maybe their kids, my family and other people that I love. So I want to be able to create a space that's nice and welcoming for everyone, not just myself. Kind of like the wetlands. I mean, and this is the woods. I'm out in the woods on a hiking trail. There's a wetlands nearby. Someone had asked me, like, what is the wetlands? The wetlands is like a nature conservation area, and it allows the community to appreciate what's there. In other words, they're not going to modify it. They're not going to come in and build something directly in the wetlands. And it's a conservation area for animals. There's lots of beautiful animals that live in here, and they love to thrive. They love to be here. So that's the type of welcoming space that I would want for myself in the future. The other thing that I want for myself in the future is better leadership. At my jobs that I've worked with in the past 25 years, I actually have come to notice and recognize there's been a lot of great leaders that I work for. And those leaders have inspired me. They've kept helping me to thrive and to grow and to understand new things and to give me new challenges so that I could really kind of keep accelerating my own aspirations to solve problems in technology, and by creating software and hardware and different types of solutions for things that are problems in this world. I wouldn't have been able to do it myself, and so I really do look back and think that I appreciate those leaders, and I want to thank them for all of their great leadership over the years. And the term leadership means something that is like, you can't tell people what to do. You have to inspire them to keep growing. It's not necessarily like management or being a directive CEO or something. It's there's more to that than leadership includes, which is basically something that you have to keep doing. It's like you're beating to your own drum, and it's like, as long as you keep doing those things, the others around you are going to be inspired to do similar things. They're going to look at you and say, wow, he does this without any kind of fear, and he does this with lots of confidence, or she does this with very good belief in the fact that people can thrive and people can grow, and you have faith in others, and you have hope, and you have joy. So all of these things are good qualities in a leader, and that's what I want for myself as well. I think I'm on the right path, but I have a lot of work to do. And part of that work is making this plan. I want to be able to have a plan, and I'll write down leadership here, but the idea is that in 5 years from now, I would see myself as somebody who doesn't even have to try to be a leader, or doesn't even have to think about what is next in life, that it sort of just is obvious to me. Like, something is going to be so powerful inside of my heart that I'm working on a problem, almost like I used to say, like, I want to work on a problem the rest of my life and dedicate my life to solving these problems. And I want to be able to know, what it is that I'm doing is going to benefit others and benefit the community and benefit society. I've done a lot of projects like that in the past, but I'm not currently doing a project like that. I have many projects going on within the AI space that I'm excited about, but those are really just providing a livelihood for me. They're really just providing a life that I can live and keeping me busy with various challenges, similar to what I was doing before. So this future goal of being a leader is actually something that I want to grow into. I want to be able to kind of understand the world better, which is what I've been doing by observing nature and by making these videos, trying to become a better communicator, trying to work with the people around me, trying to inspire people and create an ecosystem of growth and love and happiness. And so that's what I'm doing for myself, and I hope that others are inspired to do that as well. If I were to put down another goal here for my future self in terms of my 5 years, it would be to get in better shape. I have something written on my refrigerator to remind me of this. I had watched something, like a documentary that inspired me to, kind of improve my own lifestyle. Things that don't seem very, they might seem obvious to you or others, but they don't really come as obvious to me, are like, why would somebody exercise? Why do they go to the gym? Why is somebody running outside at 5 o'clock in the morning and jogging or something? I never really understood that, but really now I'm starting to appreciate that. I'm starting to understand that my body is changing. My body needs more exercise. My body needs to be able to have movement in order to feel good. I also need to eat well. Sometimes I get drained on energy, and sometimes I feel like I don't have enough energy to keep going throughout the day. Maybe a lull in the mid-afternoon, maybe the coffee wears off or whatever is going on. But the idea is that I want to be able to improve those things. So in my 5-year future self, I would have mind, body, and spirit, and those things would be autonomous. They would be automatically changing and evolving. They would be serving me rather than me trying to always find them and trying to observe it in others and wonder why they exist and that I don't have it. So those are things that I want to take on in my own possession and try to make behaviors and to kind of repeat things over and over again so that I have the ability to learn and grow. I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly discovering new things. That's good for my mind, but also I'm manifesting those things in my body in such a way that I'm remembering what it is that I want to accomplish. And, I sort of create that as my guidepost, my totem pole. I think, maybe I could be more like that. And those are the things that I'm thinking about with mind, body, and spirit. So let's think about it for a second. We have food, we have exercise, and we have people or love or compassion. Those things are important to me. And so those are the things that I want to build upon. I want to create a foundation that I can always live and thrive on. And so those are the goals that I've had for myself, is getting a better house, or maybe something where I can live and become more lively and autonomous in my own nature and have the things that I want to have, but also be able to facilitate growth and outward reach to others, like making these online videos or helping people with the AI tools. I want to become a better leader. I want to be able to have it serve me. I want to be able to work in the marketplace and say, you know what, any project that they put Greg on is something that everyone seeks to believe in, and they're inspired by him. Leadership is not something that you try to do or that you get placed in. You actually are receive it as like an award in terms of something that you're doing because you're just an inspiring individual. You're just someone who everybody else seeks to become. And it doesn't have to be everybody. Obviously, I'll still have role models. I'll still have people that I look up to and things that I look out to in the world that I seek to become more like. It's like a reflection. I get to be able to observe those things and then see where I can improve myself. You've seen me do that in some of these artwork videos that I've been doing to try to figure out what it is that the balance of energy between animals and nature are. And that's me trying to figure out what it is that I am in terms of a human being, so that I can thrive in nature and in society, and so that I can understand what it is that I'm doing or what I'm not doing, so I can improve myself. The last thing I was talking about is, a balance of health, good health, and exercise, and healthy eating, and things that are helping me to become more strong, more confident, more sustainable, feeling good throughout the day and not running out of energy, being able to make decisions and being able to balance my energy from one thing to another, being able to really just kind of evolve beyond the point where I am now. It's like a pyramid, so if I were to also then finish this up by drawing the pyramid, maybe I can put those things at the bottom here and say that it's health, exercise, and livelihood. I'll just put, but someone was telling me that the livelihood is something that has to do with your work life, but it definitely is something that I want to build upon. It's something that I want to be able to say is also in my home life. Cooking is like one of my favorite things to do, or playing hockey, or riding my bike, or going for a walk out in nature. These are like my favorite things to do. Listening to music, being able to watch things like maybe a movie or maybe a documentary that's something I can appreciate in my heart, and that I can actually bring more spirit into my heart and to love and aspire to do things better. Those are the true feelings that I have inside. Those are the things that I'm speaking right now to you, to be able to tell the world that this is my aspirations. These are my life goals. All right, so I appreciate you listening, and this is my YouTube channel, so subscribe and like if you want to see more videos like this. I'm here at the beautiful waterfall with all of my friends, and I always come here because it does inspire me to do more things. Thank you.